These people have paid thousands for their place on this boat.
I've just clipped that bit out so you could hear for yourself. That was a reporter. Whether he's made a mistake by actually admitting the truth or whether they're actually coming around now and being a bit braver, I don't know. We'll go with the later and hope that he's actually got some guts and come out and it's said that these people, all of them, have paid thousands of pounds for their seat on that boat. At the moment, this problem hasn't gone away. They're coming across in more and more numbers every day. And with summer coming, they will ramp up their trips because the weather will be better. Now, there's a lot of bleeding hearts out there, predominantly on the extreme left and the left, because there's a lot of people on the left that don't agree with what you're seeing in the background behind me, all right? And there are people on the right, some of them, that agree with it. So this isn't a left-right thing. Admittedly, there are more numbers to the far left, exactly, but there you are, right? But this is more about a cognitive dissonance. This is about just blatant lying and obviously mental health. Now, in this video, I'll get around to this. I'll be as brief as I can because your time's precious. Your house prices have gone up because more and more people like this are coming into the country and they need housing. Your taxes have gone up because these people need housing, clothing, feeding, watering, and all the other things that go with it. When you look at these people, they have top-of-the-range clothes, top-of-the-range phones, and as I say, they've managed to afford to pay thousands of pounds to get onto that boat. So, how did that happen? Well, there's two ways this could have happened. NGOs giving them the money to do so. If so, why? It's illegal. Secondly, they've probably worked for years in France. If they've done that, they're not seeking asylum. They've already sought asylum. Now they're breaking the law by dumping all of their papers over the sea. Well, they just get rid of all identification and then trot across. So anybody who says this is a good thing is A, agreeing with breaking the law, and B, either not completely in charge of their faculties or are just blatantly lying. We have a certain amount of land in this country. We have a certain amount of resources, and incidentally, this may have been some interest to you or not, but over recent years, the indigenous people of this country and also other people in this country have been, how do we say, having less children. In the old days, we used to have a lot of children because there was child infancy deaths, etc., and it was the done thing. Also, there were a lot of families that didn't believe in like contraception, etc. So you had big families. There wasn't TVs, there wasn't the internet, there wasn't going out. So you stayed home and entertained yourself. You get the idea. But nowadays, there's not. Now, our system, right, failing as it is financially, it needs more and more mouths to feed. It needs more and more people coming into this country. So this is part of the reason. But the left who think this is a good thing, answer me this. So many of you lived in the city, whether it be in the centre of Bristol, London, Bradford, wherever it is, and you've all fucked off to the country. Why is that? What, you want a better life, is it? You like the countryside? Is that it? Or is that the real reason? Or is it the fact that you realise that your little policy of bringing these people in by the bucket load, actually when they congregate in one particular area together, it doesn't turn out very well, does it? Now, this is one of the facts that you lot don't want to admit because you know that if you actually said it, your own little cult, and that's exactly what you're in, would bin you off. Worse still, they'd probably ruin you. And you've got to look at this. Are these nice people to be hanging around with? But I'd liken the people that think that this is a good idea to people who joined Jonestown. Some of you may be old enough, or Waco, for instance. You're in a cult. The guy or the system that's feeding you this information, you believe wholeheartedly. They could tell you that tomorrow the sun wouldn't come up and you'd believe them. You are weak, mentally, probably mentally ill actually, but if not, on the fringe. And you will believe the cult no matter what it says. Now, the cult at the moment is saying this is a good thing, so you're going along with it. Now, be aware of what happened to those people in Waco and Jonestown. Waco was slightly more interesting in that David Koresh wanted his own little place where he had nothing to do with the system and that he governed his own people. He himself was a lunatic. However, look into the background of what actually happened and them getting stormed and you'll find out that Hillary Clinton's lot was in that. All right, but that's another story for another time. But generally speaking, these people put their entire future into one man, either be it Jim Jones or be it David Koresh. You are putting your entire faith into this ideology of do-gooders, all right? Let's all do the woke thing and look kind and look lovely in front of our friends because actually we're not, but it's a good facade, isn't it? This is what you're going with, right? Here's the problem. Most of the people in Waco died, and about 99.9% of the people in Jonestown died. He actually brainwashed these people into taking the Kool-Aid. They drank this, they got their kids to drink it, and they all fucking died. This policy that you have at the moment of flooding our country with people from another world, right, i.e. the third world is what I mean, it's not just dangerous, it's bloody suicidal, all right? And I don't know if some of you have been to some of the cities at the moment. We are predominantly, right, having our labour section taken up by the third world, which means you're out of a job, by the way, or your kids could be out of a job. Because what happens is these agencies realise they can abuse the third world. These people that you've got coming in on the boats at the moment. Yes, globalism, big companies, big corporations like to take the piss out of them because these people don't know what their rights are. And you do. So they don't want to employ you because you're a bit more expensive. When you go around to the distribution centres and the other parts of the world like I do, you get to see that they're predominantly from, say for instance, India, or they're predominantly from Africa, or from different parts of the Middle East, or wherever it is, right? And if they can't get that, they get the Eastern Europeans, the lowest grade of Eastern Europeans. And I don't mean that in a detrimental sense. I mean the least educated, the least aware, the people that will just take anything because it's better than what they've come from. Now, some of you may argue, in fact, indeed most of you do, that what they're actually getting now is better than what they've had. I agree with you totally. But it's not what we do over here. We can provide a lot better. We would expect better for our own people, and yet you think it's all right to let them work in these shitty conditions because it's better than what they had. That, my dear, is racism, whether you like it or not. Now, if these people come into our country, they have to be paid the exact same wage that we would expect. But the problem is there that you don't get your cheap prep. You don't get your toilets cleaned cheap. You don't get your other things that you left and some on the right dearly love to get. You know, I had a caller the other day argued that, well, what about the illegal Chinese people? If we sent them back, you wouldn't have a Chinese. That's an argument. And that's what the problem is. You expect cheap labour. You expect these people coming into the country to do the jobs that you don't want to do. They're below you, aren't they? Now, when you actually unwrap that, you realise that actually you're not very nice, are you? Yes, let's just import some poor little bastards to do the really shit jobs that we don't like. And now we're getting to the crux of it, aren't we? What these people mean to you is less expenditure, less, I don't know, less effort for you, more for them. You like your car being washed cheaply by the Polish or the Ukrainians or the Romanians or whatever they are. You like it, they do a good job. But you know if you went to an English car wash like that, you'd pay more. So that's why you'll go there on the weekend and get your car washed. And then you drive around quite happily, looking good. Now, you've seen the conditions that those poor little sods work under. They slave all day long out in the pissing down rain or in the sun getting baked stupid. How much do you think they get paid? How many of them do you think are actually on the books? How many of these other people, or places I should say, are actually laundering cash? And how much of that goes back into organised crime? But these people that are coming over the channel at the moment, which you agree in, are creating part of the housing shortage. Now, how much did you pay for your house? How much do you think your house would have cost you if we'd have not had a massive influx of people coming in from different parts of the world from, say, for instance, the early 90s? You know, with the fall of the Berlin Wall and obviously all that business, at one point or another, we decided we were going to let them in from, like, Eastern Europe. Now, I do remember when the Bosnian War happened, we ended up with a lot of Bosnian and Serbs and Kurds and Croats, whatever they were, all coming over. Now, that was right because they were in the middle of a war, okay, and they were persecuted. How many of them stayed and how many went back? I don't know, I don't have the answer. But at the moment, incidentally, another thing that you should notice is that we're taking in Ukrainians. Have a good look at those Ukrainians, incidentally. What do they look like? Do they look like Ukrainians? Or does it look like we're taking in their share of the third world first before we actually take the real Ukrainians? But you'll overlook that because the moment you stick your head above the picture, right, or above the parapet, whatever, and you admit in front of your little woke mates who are like little Nazis, you know, exactly that you call us, because when you spoke out in Nazi Germany back in the day, you were for it. And it's just the same in your little cult, isn't it? The moment one of you actually faces a fact and comes out with that fact, all the rest of you jump on him like a pack of animals. And you ruin that fucker because you don't want to ruin this bubble of ideology, this woke thing that you've built up, this facade of lies. Thing is, the truth is, when it all goes wrong, there's a group of us that will be able to get through this. We'll be fine. But you lot, you really will suffer under all this. And it's coming. Because a lot of the cities and a lot of the towns now, people are moving out of them to the country. Because they don't like them anymore. Because they're unlivable. Because they're dangerous. Why? They're absolutely full of people who don't like us, don't like our culture, don't like our country, don't like the law, don't like each other. And that's the biggest problem. Whether you like it or not, when we bring in certain cultures and ideologies, they fight each other as well. I mean, when you look at, say, for instance, Islam, there's different variations of Islam, and they hate each other. When you look at different parts of Africa, they fought each other forever. And what they do is we import them and we import those problems too, but you don't want to face it. It's time that you grow up, because what you're leading us to is a Jim Jones situation. It's suicidal. It's madness. And you hate us. I like that, by the way. I really do. The more you hate me, the better I feel. And that'll probably make you pissed off as well. I love it. Seriously. Because I know that you don't like me for having the balls to say what's true and you haven't got the guts to do it. I know that. And I love the skin I'm wrapped in, all right? I love the country I'm from. I love my history. I love all that. And you hate it, don't you? But you don't actually know how to truly love. You're just full of hate. I don't feel sorry for you. I think you're pathetic. But the problem is you want to take us down with you because you hate the country, you hate everything else. And you just want it all to go up in flames, don't you? But all the time, you want to get adoration and respect from the other pillocks around you. And this is how it works. When you go to one of those coffee mornings or when you go to those little hippie festivals and you'll dress up in flowers and paint your faces or walk around being all lovely, you're actually a real group of shithouses that deep down underneath that are really horrible fucking people. You've got no morals, you've got no ethics, you've got nothing going for you, right? You're devoid mainly of personality as well, character. And you use this shit because it's the only thing that gives you any status at all. Because without it, you're fuck all. We know this. Thing is, you don't think that the people around you know it, but they're all the same. And they're looking at you knowing that you're a shithouse. And they talk behind your back. And you all talk behind each other's back. But to each other's face, you're nice. But really, you're horrible everywhere. Just so you know, we know. All right? So the game's up. Nobody believes you. Nobody thinks you're doing it for the right reasons. Okay? Your friends don't think you're doing it for the right reasons, just so you know. So you'll be a fake to you, to your friends, to everything else, and in the process, you're destroying your kid's future. What level of shit is that? Hey? It's mental health problems, that is. You really do need to get yourself looked at. You are unwell. Anyway, I've got to go work now to pay for the mess that you've got this country into. Because I'm a taxpayer. And I pay rather large sums of tax to prop up the system that you love. Do I feel bitter about that? Nah. Just one of those things. We will change it, by the way. The right will win. Centrist, right, whatever you want to call us. Okay, we're going to win. We're going to gain back social media, so we're on an even playing field. And all of this cancel culture, like you did to the Voice of Wales over in Llanelli, where you think you've got a result there. Cancelling free speech, okay? And when you actually look at what they were going to say, they were going to talk about simple issues like the cost of living. Well, that's heinous, isn't it? But you put them down as neo-Nazis, didn't you? You absolute brain-dead weapons. Do you know, you cooing and crowing about how well you've done is like punching yourself in the face and gloating. You do not know how ridiculously you look. Do you know what? There's so many people, even in your own group, that at the moment are waking up, but they're pretending to you. Oh yeah, that mate that you've got sat next to you that listens to you, and you think they're listening hard and they believe in it, they don't. But they don't know what to do next. But they're starting to believe us. They are. How does that make you feel like? You could be sat around the coffee morning and Doris across the way or Janet over there, they're actually thinking what I'm thinking, but they just don't want to tell you. Yep, you're going to lose your power. But you know what? Because they're part of the mental cases, they're going to turn on you. Yep, your own lot will turn on you. How do you feel about that, eh? Me, I think it's a bad thing. I don't want to see that. But that's the way you lot are built. So you will eat each other, just like they did over in Nazi Germany, just like they do in other places where a little cult implodes. So, good luck for the future. You're going to need it. Meanwhile, the least people that you have to fear at the moment is the right. Serious? We wouldn't want to cancel what you say. Because here's the thing, if you were coming up with facts, I couldn't argue with you because it would be fact. But all you deal in is made up bullshit and feelings. Well, I'm sorry, love, feelings don't pay the bills and feelings don't get problems sorted. And made up facts get you into a lot of trouble. But this is the reason you counsel us, because all we've got is data. All we've got to do is say, this is this, this is this, this is this. This is no good, this needs fixing. And that kind of scuppies you, doesn't it? Because you don't have any comeback, do you? So what do? You label them, you brand them, you call them Nazis, you call them bigots, you call them hateful zealots or whatever else. That's why you hate people in Poland and people in Russia and stuff like that, because they don't give a shit about your feelings. They just come out and say it, don't they? I kind of like that. Whether you like their policies or whatever, I like their honesty. And this is what we need more of over here. This is why I don't give a shit. And have you noticed, incidentally, when you look around at Hope Not Hate, they go after people that care about people coming after them. People that worry about being doxxed or whatever. I don't give a fuck. That's why they don't bother with me, because I'm not scared, I'm not bothered, I'm not fussed. I mean, so what? So what if you came out and said exactly, well, my name is Simon Paul Evans, I come from Weston-super-Mare, there you go. What more do you want? You can look me up, you can find me anywhere. I don't care. Come around my house. You're welcome. I'll put the kettle on. So when you do this, you take all of their control away from them. But we've got people on the right who are scared. People on the left are fucking far more scared, obviously. They're in a cult at the moment. To leave them is not quite like leaving Islam, but it's not good, is it? You know what I mean? So the moment you release your fear, yeah, I've lost a couple of jobs. Do you know how many jobs are out there at the moment? Plenty for those who want to work. So that's it. Whatever. Anyway, that was 17 minutes of me getting it off my plate. Tell me what you think in the comments. I had a word with the man upstairs. And I don't know if you've noticed, it's had a bit of a difference. We're putting out more content. So maybe give it a go yourself, see if it works for you. I didn't ask for anything, by the way. In so much as you don't go to the man upstairs and say, I need to win the lottery. I need a newer car. I need that, because he's just going to go get fucked. If you ask what it is that you can do to help, it will present itself. So, more and more content it is then. Anyway, see you soon.